What is going on, guys? Good morning. We have PPI dropping in 1 minute. Kenan, what's going on, bro?
All right, we've got the May producer price
Dude,
index.
there's a place that opened up down the road
markets
called Kenan Cigars.
Rick Santelli is standing by at the CME. Rick, take it away.
Yes, Becky, these are wholesale inflation numbers in the form of the producer price index for the month of May, up 0.1% on headline. That is very much 1/10 less than expectations. But do remember, in the rearview mirror, we had the trifecta of negative numbers. We had minus 0.5% last month. That was a very big number, the worst since COVID, or I should say the biggest drop. It isn't necessarily bad to see inflation going away. If you strip out the all-important food and energy, it remains up 1/10. As I said before, these are much cooler numbers. We're expecting up 0.3. Now, this follows a big down number, as I said, down 0.4 on ex-food and energy. That was the biggest going back to February of 15. It equaled down 0.4. We've never had a bigger number. But then again, this series was modified. It only goes back to 2010. Let's take out food, energy, and trade. Once again, it's up 1/10. And once again, that's a couple tenths lighter than expectations. Last month's minus 1/10 was indeed one of those big numbers. The only other negative number we had was COVID-related, down 0.4. Now, if we look at the year-over-year numbers, and these are important, this is where the stickiness comes in. Year-over-year headline, up 2.6. As expected, but 0.2 warmer than the rearview mirror. 2.4 was in the rearview mirror. 3.4 was March. That's what we're comping to. Take out food and energy, 3%, 1/10 less than expectations, 1/10 less than last month, which was 3.1. Where does it comp to? Comps to August of last year when we were at 2.8. So in a way, been there, done that. That's the stickiness I talked about. And finally, if we look at ex-food, energy, and trade, that's 2.7. 0.3 less than we were expecting, and some progress here. 2.9 was our last look. 2.7 would equal Jan of 24 to find a lower number. You're back to Thanksgiving of 23. Now, let's look at initial and continuing claims. 248,000 on initial claims. As we inch ever closer to 250,000, that follows a slightly revised 247, which becomes 248, unchanged on the week. And to put a face on this, you have to go back to October of last year to find a higher number, and we all know what that was. October of last year, you're talking about 250,000. We finally traded above that, and on continuing claims, 1,956,000, getting ever closer to 2 million. Now, this remains the third consecutive week above 1.9 million, and these are the highest numbers since November of 21. Interest rates really aren't changed much, but they were already well down due to some of the weakness we're seeing in equities that may have to do with that crash, that unfortunate crash. And the pre-opening equities, well, they're in the red, and they have been in the red. A very subtle amount of improvement on this data. Becky, Joe, back to you.
Okay, Rick, thank you. Let's bring in Steve Leisman. He joins us with more on this. And by the way, at your suggestion, Steve, we asked Gary Cohn to stick around, too. He was on his way out the door, but we've got him here. We wanted to see what he thinks about these numbers, too. He's been taking notes with his pen and paper. We'll get your thoughts on this and have Gary jump in and say what he thinks, too.
Well, he said he would come back. He just didn't say he'd come back a minute later.
After the break.
I'm obviously very gratified Gary's sticking around because there's so many things to talk to him about, especially, by the way, what's happening with the dollar this morning. But before, look, it looks like there's a lot of goose eggs on this producer price report. I can't find an obvious reason, like unlike past months, why this number is down. Becky, there's a lot of stuff happening in the economy right now relative to these tariffs. We had a couple pops in a couple areas yesterday, but I'll just repeat what I thought was the broader story, which was, remember, the Fed's big concern was that not just the tariff prices would go up, but that inflation expectations would rise and prices would rise for non-tariff goods. That did not appear to be the case. I will say that many economists this morning kind of agree with this notion that Gary laid out in the prior half hour, was that you would get some of the impact in months to come. But the question becomes, do you have other prices falling because tariff goods are rising? And then the broader question, which I think I ended the discussion with and remains the case and the question this morning, as to whether or not you have companies taking hits in their profit margins for a couple reasons. One is that if you think these things are temporary, you may not want to raise prices right away. Some people feel like it takes retailers, and Becky, you'll know more about this than I do, 2 or 3 months eventually to raise prices. So we may not be seeing the full effect. And then I would just throw out the Joe Kernan postulate, which is maybe this is all a lot of bluff and bluster over nothing, and that you're raising prices on some percentage of tariff goods and the broad and dynamic U.S. economy. It's like, what do you want to say? Shooting an arrow at Godzilla. It's just a little pest, but not a really big deal. Becky?
Gary, what do you think about that after Steve's technical analysis of a lot of stuff happening in the economy?
Well, with the disclosure, I have no numbers in front of me,
Yeah.
and I'm listening to what has been said here. I think what Steve is saying, I agree with. Initially, companies have been hesitant and have been pressured not to raise prices.
Right.
We've seen that. We've heard about it.
Nobody wants to be the first one to
So no one wants to be the first one. No one wants to be the second one. No one wants to raise prices. So number one, we know there's pressure not to raise prices. Number two, we know there was stockpiling. We know if you look at the freight numbers and you look at the ships and containers that came into the port of LA and Long Beach prior to Liberation Day and post-Liberation Day, we know the volumes are dramatically different. So there's a huge amount of stockpiling that needs to be worn off. So the newer goods that are coming with the higher tariffs are just starting to work their way into the system. Number three, we know that the energy component has been very favorable. The price of energy has gone down. The administration has directly affected energy
Starting
input
to
costs.
rise again, though.
Starting to rise. Well, in the last couple of days, there's been a little bit of anxiety in the Middle East.
Right.
So we're starting to rise. But overall, when you look at this time series, the energy input has been very beneficial. And energy feeds through the system in every component. When we talk about inflation, we talk about energy.
All right, guys. So PPI came in lower than expected, just like CPI. And honestly, that's not surprising to me. This is what I said yesterday on the stream, that if CPI comes in lower, PPI will likely follow. And what's interesting is that a lot of pundits thought that somehow the tariffs... Is it too loud? 1 second. I'm getting clipping levels here. Maybe let's try now. Let me know if it's too loud. Let me know if it's too loud right now. But the tariffs, we haven't seen producers raise prices from the tariffs. So, like they were saying on CNBC, nobody wants to be the first one to raise prices. And also, if nobody's is calling Trump's bluff anymore, then if they think this is all temporary and that a deal with China is going to go through, obviously they're not going to raise prices. They're going to be patient. They're not going to raise prices haphazardly before they see what the full extent of the tariffs are. So thank you, guys. It's not surprising to me that PPI, and I don't think that it was surprising to the market. Now, I don't like what happened here immediately. Obviously, we have quite a bit of time until the market opens, so I'm going to reserve full judgment until then. But just based on the pattern that I see, if you guys recall yesterday, the trade that we took, data highs and lows mean something, right? I don't like that we left the 830 low and just proceeded to continue higher. I would much rather take out the 830 low if I'm, wanting to see stocks go up, which obviously if you have stocks, you want to see the market green every day. As a day trader, I don't care much because obviously I'll trade what I see in front of me. But that data low still needs to be addressed most likely. Does it happen 100% of the time? Like if we start getting, if NQ and ES just start breaking to the upside, can it leave data lows behind? Yes, absolutely. We've seen that before. But with this much time until market open, I think that you have to consider data lows as a draw on liquidity. How often do you do St. Jude? It should be on right now. You don't see the button? How long has it been now? 20, 25? 4 years. Every live stream for 4 years. I don't handle the money. It's a YouTube program, so it goes straight to St. Jude. It's not like it goes to me and then I give it to St. Jude. It just goes to St. Jude through YouTube. If you want more info, you can Google it. But yeah, every live stream since spring of 2021, I believe. All right. Are you from the East Coast originally? No. But I spent a lot of time in the East Coast. Damien, appreciate your donation. Thank you so much. Same as you, MP3 Fitness, who's always donating. Thank you. Huang Li, what's going on? Why data low must be taking? CPI data low wasn't taken? What are you talking about, dude? You can easily pull up a chart and verify whether what you're saying is bullshit or not. Of course CPI data low was taken. You know how I know? Because our trade was a short to CPI low. What made you choose St. Jude's? I mean, we don't have to get into this discussion now, but who the fuck cares? We're talking about kids. The most innocent group of humans. But yeah, I mean, during the Maui fires, we did fundraisers for that. We've done fundraisers for Gaza. We've done fundraisers for the LA fires. Huang Li, thank you for your donation. Anonymous, appreciate your donation. Hi, I'm from Lebanon. This is the first time I'm joining. Well, welcome. We have a trader in the Discord group from Lebanon. Like, that's actually based in Lebanon. Okay. What I'm looking at here is I'm just trying to monitor whether we take London high or not. And if we take London high, NQ on the right is a lot closer to London high. Is a lot closer to London high than ES is. If we take London high, I'll be very interested in NQ taking London high and ES not. Maybe that sets up a short to 830 low, which is also close to London low. We are in a very tight range here between London high and London low. Yesterday's CPI, we had a huge expansion. But here we're dealing with a very, very short range, even with PPI, which is understandable. PPI is not as sexy as CPI, that's for sure. Anonymous, appreciate your donation. Can you imagine that I can't donate from Dubai? Really? That's wild. Do you trade with order blocks and breaker blocks, and which EMA? Yeah, I don't day trade using EMA. Order blocks and breakers are just like FVGs and IFVGs and CISDs. They're meant to be looked at in a very specific context. You don't trade every order block that you see. Most order blocks, most fair value gaps mean nothing. Man, I hope we don't see well, actually, if I'm bullish on the day, if we drop randomly from here, which I bet you if I measured it is the golden pocket of the fib, just because I can eyeball it and tell. Right there. If we drop from here and take out 830 low for then a run up back up, that would be awesome. If we take out London high right now, especially if NQ does it and ES doesn't, then I think we have a trade down to 830 low. Good morning. Just arrived to your stream. What time do you start it? And what was the pop I just missed? You cannot be serious, bro. It's literally in the title of the video. PPI inflation data. There are heavy volume. Yeah, I don't really care for volume. What's your take on Buffett's meters? Buffett is retired, chilling on a beach with a Mai Tai. Rough day. I don't like to see so much red. Maybe the market is not for you. This is not so much red. NQ's down 0.2%. The hell? Is it a good idea to buy options during opening hours? If I'm swinging. Just based on that question, you shouldn't be trading with real money. Just based on that question. I can easily tell you that. You're throwing your money away. You should spend months, preferably years, learning how to trade, building a foundation so that you don't ask if you should randomly buy options at market open. And no good ideas ever started with the question, is it a good idea? What good ideas ever started with that question? You usually ask that question when you want to do something that is not a good idea and you're looking for confirmation bias. I will not give you that confirmation bias. And I'm honest with everyone and tell you that trading is hard as fuck. Most people should not be trading. And if you are going to trade, better take it seriously, or else spend your money on something fun or useful, because you're going to burn it. No, I'm not, Alex, I'm not roasting at all. I'm the only one that will ever be honest with this person. You think that's harsh, Michael? You think it's harsh that someone with decades of experience is telling you that you have to take it seriously or else you're just wasting your money? You think that's harsh? Or do you think that's necessary? This TikTok generation is cooked if you think that is harsh. Trading is serious, man. It's like trying to get good at anything. You're not going to get good at it by asking whether you should buy options at market open and whether that's a good idea or a bad idea. What's a good idea is spending hours, hundreds, thousands of hours, learning how to chart, building a foundation, having your levels so that you can trade within a risk managed plan. That's the good idea. All right, I think we have Do you take into account the RTH gap at all? Yes. Yes. But because it's an RTH gap, you won't spot it until after the market opens, right? So when the market opens at 9:30, then if you turn on RTH gap, you'll see all of the price action since 4 o'clock yesterday. But I definitely take it into account. Yeah. And I think we can trade up into it. What I'm looking for now, guys, is one, I really want data low to be taken. The ideal situation is this. Data low to be taken, which is 8:30, at least on one of the indices. Just like we saw yesterday, we don't have to see it on both indices. As a matter of fact, divergence is one of the confluences that will give you trade confirmation, right? So what I want to see is data lows being taken, and then a run up to fill the RTH gap to the upside. Because we went down since last night, the RTH gap is to the upside. So that would be ideal, but you don't have a trade until a major liquidity level is taken. So what I'm looking for is London high to be taken or data low to be taken, and then a trade will start to present itself, if that makes it easier. Trading is easier than tech? Hell no. It's not even close. It's not even close. Trading is one of the hardest ways to make money consistently. The reason that you think trading is easy is because everyone has access to the same tools, right? So you can pull up a chart and you can pull up your brokerage account and you can act like a trader, but you're not actually trading. You're mimicking what a trader would do. Like, oh, I have charts. Let me find an indicator. Let me click buy or sell. So unlike anything on earth, you have access to the tools that a trader would use, but that's not trading, right? So like if I go to an NBA game, I can't just step on the court and be like, let me try and play for a second, right? But trading is the only profession where you immediately have access to the tools that pros have, and you can mimic their movements and their behaviors. But that's not trading. And I disagree. I worked in tech for most of my life. Tech is literally one of the easiest jobs in the world. Trading is much harder than tech. Anonymous, thank you for your donation. Dallas says, I went from 22 years of tech to trading. Trading is harder. Yeah, it's a lot harder. It's not even close. Do you ever use leveraged shares? I'm in a big position in SOXL. Yeah. How do you determine whether to trade evals or funded? Well, you can't get funded without trading evals, so it's like a chicken or the egg problem. Okay, we have this divergence here that remains. I still think Anonymous, appreciate your donation to St. Jude's. Thank you. Excuse me, guys. I think I still think one of them takes London first, even if this divergence right now exists. So no divergence, no trade. I'm in a long on Tesla, multi-day long on Tesla. How to learn daily bias? Have you tried typing that question in YouTube? I can give you some tips on daily bias, but I'm also trying to trade. So I'm in a long on Tesla as we are sitting at the Trump versus Elon fear candle right here from June 5th, revisiting that level. Futures are red, so are we shorting? Not how trading works. Let's take a look at gold real quick. If gold can take this high from last week, I think that's where we're going. I think gold is going to 3427.7. That's the drawn liquidity. There are potential longs to get to that level. There might be a multi-day platinum short. If platinum can close below this, this is actually a great play. If platinum closes below this 4-hour fair value gap, I think there's a multi-day platinum short. I'm gonna set an alert here because I tend to forget sometimes when there are these potentially amazing setups. IWM, we ran our options into that 215 range, which was my first target. We're now seeing a pullback. And if we revisit this level, that 210 level, then I think there's a path to that 220 gap area. But I'm not yet going to enter this. Can you explain how you know what is the dole? It just comes from experience, and it's really all you need to know how to do is to draw a horizontal line. So when you see gold moving up, where is it going to? Like, what sticks out for you here on the daily chart? It's that, right? Does that mean that that is the ultimate dole? What if the drawn liquidity is this? It can be, right? But that's when you confirm with the lower time frame. So that is the first potential dole, right? If we hit this and then on a lower time frame you break structure, then you have a potential short to get down to the next liquidity level, which is this volume imbalance. So what gold can do is easily do this, break structure on the lower time frame, come down here before moving back up. That's how liquidity works. What are your thoughts on silver? I don't answer thoughts questions. Ask me something more specific. All right, so we just took London high. Both of them took London high. Will they take London high? I just said they took London high. Oh my God. I wonder if they'll take London high. Gold going up means bearish? Yeah, sure, bro. Going up means bearish. It's upside down world. Y'all are funny. We could confirm a short here. There definitely are stupid questions, yeah. What? I think there's a short here, guys. Michael, if you think that data means that you should, that good or bad data means that you should long or short on that day, you've got a thing coming to you, bro. Yesterday's CPI was quote unquote good, right? Why was the trade of the day a short? The data does not matter for that specific day. It's just where's liquidity taken and what is the opposing liquidity. So we have a 3-minute CISD right here. It's clearer on, even though I'm partial to NQ, it's clearer on ES. Trading news is gambling. The news is already out, so we're not trading the news. You're trading the aftermath. And secondly, why are you here? Just go watch CNBC, bro. They'll tell you it's the perfect time to invest at the all-time highs. We missed the entire rally. And now it's the perfect time to invest. So what indicators do you recommend? None. Your eyes. So I sold at the CISD level. We didn't even touch it yet. Do you have a short position in Palantir? No. Stone Bunny. Unfortunately, I agree. I'm going to set an alert on gold at 3427.7 to see what happens when it tickles that level. Oh, appreciate it, Castle. I misunderstood you. What are the yields doing right now? I think yields are dropping. So you're seeing you're seeing bonds rally here. Oh, nice. The 10-year is under 4.3. You know what I didn't check on, guys, was yesterday I didn't look at the results of the bond auction, but we have been seeing the Treasury buying back bonds. They bought back 10 billion of long-term bonds the other day, which was the most in history. So I don't know if one of you guys was tracking this yesterday, post it in the chat, but I didn't see whether the auction went well. I'm assuming it did, but I also don't know if the Treasury bought back, if it was helped by the Treasury buying back those bonds. Do you wait for a FEG to enter after the CISD? Usually a CISD will have an IFEG baked in. So like if you look at this, that's a good question. If you look at this, you see that IFEG right there? So this is going to be, if we get the CISD, this will automatically have been breached. If you're saying, do I wait for an FEG after this? No, not necessarily. If my stop limit, if after the CISD gets hit, or gets closed below, not hit, but closed below, if, say, my trade box looks something crazy, right? Say like this is my trade, that I cannot take. So then I will likely have to wait for a more optimal entry just to take the trade, which can involve retracing back into an FEG, but it's not a necessity, right? It really just depends on whether I can get an optimal trade out of the range after closing below the CISD. Does that make sense? What you need to switch to bullish? For what? For what time frame? What asset? What are you talking about? Just because I short doesn't mean I'm bearish. It just means I'm playing this move. Now we did get a CISD on the 1 minute, but we are coming up on market open. There is a risky-ish trade here to trade down to data low, because that is where we're going, just like yesterday. Can you teach us the lock 30? Come on, bro. Come on. Go to another channel, dude. What strategy is that? Tesla's heading down. It's literally sitting on that candle. Something like this. If we get a close below that. Seven. 20. 7, 350, 357. So 2 on this and 3 on that. Yeah. Do you think it makes sense to buy puts on Boeing based on the major crash in India? Wow. And this is an Indian guy asking that. One, extremely disgusting that hours after the crash, that's what you're thinking about. And those are your fellow countrymen and women. And two, how idiotic that you're going to try to chase news that has been out for hours. You think that, what, you just came up with the grand master plan to short Boeing after news has already come out for hours, and you think you're gonna make money? So, congrats on being an idiot on two fronts. Do you get sad every time you win a trade? No. I get sad every time your mom shows up on my caller ID. No matter how many times I change my number, her name manages to pop up. At the worst times, too. All right, so market opens in 10 minutes. And since we took London high, I want to see if we get a flush down to 830 low, but I cannot take it without confirmation. Now, if you are risky, you can already enter here short. Okay, that is not an A+ trade. But just like we saw, yesterday was a little bit different, right? So yesterday, here's what happened. We took the 830 high, there was divergence, and we had already confirmed a short with the CISD, right? So we entered, and it was like 9 a.m., and price was doing this, but we were already in there. So then when the market opened and we flushed down to 830 low, we got paid. In this case, we took the highs, right? But price hasn't confirmed yet. That's the big difference between yesterday and today. So there is no confirmed short here for an A+ trade, right? There is only a risky entry here to try to front run a potential flush after market opens. Am I going to do that? No. But giving you the explanation of why yesterday and today are different. Buenos dias, Silver Fox. What's going on? What stock is this? It's right here. ES and Q. These are futures, not stocks. I'm not going to look at options until the market opens because you cannot trade options now. RTY is interesting. It's in a daily fair value gap. Ark, appreciate your donation, man. Thank you. We also have a breaker right there on RTY. I think RTY is a long after, if we can get 830 breached or swept. RTY hasn't taken London high either. If we can get 830 swept, I think RTY could present a long for the rest of the day, since it is in this daily fair value gap. So from the high time frame, this looks potentially bullish. All right, 5 minutes until market open. What's your win rate for these mornings from your journal so I can plan my risk size? Imagine asking this to a stranger, bro. Again, this is why most of you should not be trading with real money. You should plan your risk size according to your own trades. If you agree with my thesis, plan your risk size accordingly. Um, 4 minutes until market open. 1 second, I'll be right back. 1 second. All right. 2 minutes until go time. ES has a cleaner chart than NQ, only because the order block here is cleaner. Fuck you, bro. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, what? We're getting a manipulation up. This is why you don't want to front run trades. You want to wait for confirmation. What would be interesting is if we saw this pre-market high get taken out. Tesla looks potentially bullish here. You'd be a boss if you use order flow? Okay, bro. There's a reason one of us live trades and the other one doesn't. I don't argue with anybody's strategy. If you're profitable, I clap my hands to you. Quite a bit of divergence here between ES and NQ, where ES is a lot weaker so far. Oh, NQ did take the high. Okay, so we have divergence here. We have SMT divergence here between ES and NQ. And if NQ closes below that IFEG, they're both going to go down. ES will likely confirm first. But no confirmation just yet. But we do have divergence here. One thing that I would like to see is a fill of this RTH gap later after taking out the 830 low. Okay, so if we close here, we'll have a CISD, and NQ will have an IFVG. Let's see. And I'm looking to enter short on ES just to get down to 59.90. I like this Tesla long here. So if this divergence goes away, meaning if we get above 6,022 on ES, then I'll no longer be short biased at the open. And I think we aim for a higher draw on liquidity. But let's see. No trade yet. And I think gold gets to that 3427.7 level. So it may look for a continuation there. Oh yeah. Yeah, I think this was the pullback to go long on Tesla. I sent this out yesterday in the Discord because we were sitting on top of that Trump Elon candle. I think this breaks that 370 level. No trade on the indices yet. Looking for a potential continuation on gold long. Man, Apple looks like shit. I think AMD gets down to that 119 gap, setting up for a potential multi-day long to this level here. That divergence still exists. And as long as it exists and we get confirmation, I'll look for a short to 830. But if that high gets, if that high gets breached, then I'll look at another liquidity level that's up top, but let's see. I think Tesla presents a long here. We'd love to get to this 336 level today. Wow, we still have, that's so wild. We still have not touched that high right there. That SMT still exists, guys. By the way, that guy that was telling me his order flow already confirmed a short, and he was already in a short and was laughing about how I didn't use order flow. His position is likely pretty fucked right now. Just saying. Bro, stop yawning. Sayed Kadivar. Sayed Kadivar says, bro, stop yawning. Bro, y'all invented yawning. You ever been to India? Fucking talk to me about yawning. Yawning is a national sport in India, bro. See, even Raju knows. That's why he's laughing. The guy that said he already went short says he's up 600 on his short. Yeah, bro. And I'm fucking Superman. I'm the tan Superman. New version of Clark Kent. Price shot up and somehow he's up on his short. Sayed says, I'm Persian. Bro, that's even worse. After a whole pot of khurma sabzi, you tell me that you guys aren't winning the yawning Olympics? Or tadik? Yeah, Atlas is so up on his short that he accidentally longed. That's the only way he's making money. He probably shorted SQQQ. Exactly. What's your opinion on getting a funded account? Yeah, great. Pass the evaluation and get funded. How could that be a bad thing? Respect on your knowledge of Persian food? Oh, dude, Persian food is amazing. Not as good as Arabic food, but it's one of the world's greatest foods. But for sure, I think Persians perfected kebab, for sure. Like, I'd rather have kubide over almost any other version of kebab. Arabic or otherwise. But condiments, nah. Y'all aren't beating the Lebanese. The Lebanese are the kings and queens of condiments. When you go to a Persian restaurant and they give you lavash with butter and a couple of leaves of mint and an onion, it really doesn't make sense to me. And when you go to a Lebanese restaurant and you get hummus, tabbouleh, you get eggplant, za'atar, nah. You guys are not beating the Lebanese on condiments. But kubide, I'll give you that. The best version of kebab for sure. I just don't understand the lavash with the stick of butter and the 3 mint leaves. I don't know what you're supposed to do with that. All right, so haven't yet taken a trade. Coming up on the 9:50 a.m. potential reversal macro here as we hit the 4-hour. You can see the 4-hour volume imbalance. Are you Lebanese? No. But shout out to the Lebanese. The Lebanese are the homies. Is euros a version of kebab? No. Only white people call euros kebab. A kebab is something you put on a, what do you call those things? Skewer. A kebab is not something you shave off of a fat slab of meat. But when you go to the UK and Germany, for some reason, they call euros kebab, which makes 0 sense. All right, so we hit the 4-hour volume imbalance here. And I'm very interested in this level for a potential 10 a.m. reversal to get down to 8:30, potentially. I wonder if this high, this 4-hour high from yesterday, if NQ can take that, and you could see that ES would be far away from taking that. Is this ICT strategy? There is some ICT concepts, yeah. But I wouldn't call it exclusively ICT. I appreciate it, Atlas. Much love from Argentina. Oh, Copa America just started. I was surprised to see Messi on the field. Or was it the Copa America qualifiers? All right. Oh, RTY looks like shit. I'm going to put an alert on RTY at that 830 low because I think that if that's taken, it can set up a long for the rest of the day. YM looks super interesting here. 9:30 midnight, 5-minute fair value gap. Might be a short again to get down to 8:30. Hmm. 5-minute fair value gap. Equal highs. I wonder if there's a short to get down to 8:30 on YM. I think there might be. So OTE, boom, 5-minute fair value gap. So we hit the 4-hour fair value gap on, or the 4-hour volume imbalance on both NQ and ES. And we do have slight divergence now once again. I'm going to take YM short to 830. Okay, so we took that. Do we have any more news today? I actually didn't look this up. We have a 30-year bond auction at 1. Unemployment claims came in higher than expected. There's also the case of the RTH gap, by the way, which NQ filled, and ES got more than halfway. I think there's an impetus for a drop here. And we have bearish divergence. I'm going to try a short here on NQ. Even though ES hasn't confirmed it yet. But we filled the RTH gap. Confirmed with divergence. closed below that IFEG, rejected off true day open in that 4-hour volume imbalance, and we still have the equal lows at 8:30 open. We just need ES to come along for the ride. NQ so far weaker than ES. All right, got stopped out of that, but we just took these equal highs, which you can see this PO3 to those equal highs. So I'm going to wait for actual confirmation, but I still think that there might be a short here. Let's see, 4 hour. Should have spotted those equal highs for sure. But I still think we can get this here. So ES. Okay, so both took RTH now. We're now out of the macro. Yeah, I should have spotted those equal highs, to be honest. Those equal highs on NQ. At 21,895. All right, 1L on the day. I wonder if we trade up to OTE. If we look at the 4-hour. Well, I still think we get a setup here, but I can't rush another trade just yet. Well, RTY looks like shit. I wonder if GC sets up a long here. Biggest risk is this gap here, but if we close above that, I think GC sets up a long. Yeah, so not only do we have these equal highs at 34.19 on gold, but there is that high from Thursday. And gold is super bullish on the day, but let's see. Can't take it until we close above this on the 3-minute. Yeah, I think the indices are going for OTE up here. But I can't take a long until this right here is confirmed. All right. Looks like a long. Is potentially what's going to play out here. So 15-minute fair value gap, equal highs, 5-minute, 3-minute closure. That potential draw on liquidity, which is Thursday's high. But in the more immediate sense, those equal highs right there. Now, one thing I want to see is, did GC take 830 low? Yes. Okay, so we took data low. This is my second trade of the day. I guess the optimal entry would have been that 5-minute fair value gap, and then my stop would have been here. But this is my entry model as well, so. We respected the 3-minute inversion and 3-minute fair value gap. NQ isn't doing shit here. Oof, these are some violent moves on GC, not gonna lie. Besides YM, The rest of the market is kind of stalled here. Yeah, I think NQ is going for this at OTE. A second 3-minute candle respecting that FVG, IFVG. Super interesting. And we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-minute wicks in this 5-minute FVG here. Now my ultimate draw is 3427.7. But I'm not moving my stop here. I was gonna say you can move it down and then move the TP up, but being that I already took 1L on NQ, I have to manage my risk appropriately. So I'm not moving my stop, and I'm keeping my TP conservative at these equal highs so far. And we see what happens. Yeah, I think this is where NQ is going for, up here. All right, my stop hit on that second one. That is my second trade. Wow, I don't remember the last time I took back-to-back L's. It definitely happens. Now, that trade was not a front run. Like, it was a confirmed trade for me. And although I'm still long bias on gold, again, the hardest part of day trading is not calling out price. It's managing your risk within that, right? So would I have been better off taking it from the 5-minute fair value gap? I mean, this is all just hindsight talk, because if it worked out, you wouldn't be talking like that, or I wouldn't be talking like that. But would this have been a viable trade? Sure. Am I going to re-enter? No. That would be breaking my rules. So I took 2 L's on the day, one on NQ and one on GC. GC was an A+ trade for sure. And I still think it goes higher, and I still think those equal highs get busted, which would be unfortunate, but that is the game sometimes. The market is pretty much flat even with these moves. Like RTY is down 0.2, YM is up 0.04, 0.2 for ES and NQ. Amazon is flat. Meta's flat. Tesla's flat. Netflix is flat. Oh, hell yeah. SOXL. As Broadcom breaks out. All right. Well, I don't know that there's much that I want to trade today, at least not in the AM session. I will have to go back and review the NQ trade. The GC trade I'm not tripping about, the gold one. I do want to go back and review the NQ trade because I think if I'm being honest and if I'm reviewing that, the one thing that I should have seen before taking that short, even though it gave us all the reasons to go short, were those equal highs here, which is where my stop was. So it would have avoided that initial entry. So that for sure was a mistake that I can say honestly. All right. Well, appreciate you guys joining the stream. Didn't happen today. First stream in a long, I don't even remember how long it's been since I've had back-to-back losses, but I'm not, I still got to manage risk. I cannot just haphazardly enter another trade. I likely won't trade another trade today. Unless something really A+ sets up, but even then I don't think so. So for those of you in the Discord, I will see you guys in the chat. And I got an update on what I see with Tesla. So far, I like what I'm seeing. The fact that we are bouncing off of that candle, that is what I want to see for a potential rally up for the days to come.